Mario's Picross, released in 1995 for the Nintendo Game Boy, was an attempt to diversify the former Jumpman's portfolio by giving him a game about logic and numbers. Unfortunately, the game underperformed in regions not named Japan, and so Nintendo opted to keep that subset of games firmly in Japan until 2007, which saw the release of Picross DS onto local markets, at which point since we've got a number of Picross games released over the years. Anyways, Mario Picross is a game about solving nonographic puzzles, wherein you chisel in spaces using the numbers on the columns and rows as clues as to where you're filling in order to create a rudimentary image on the piece of slab. You have 30 minutes to solve the puzzle, with every wrong move deducting time from your clock and leaving you with less overall time to complete the puzzle. You have the option of taking a hint to unveil 2 lines, or you can go for a clean slate and just start it from scratch. And also, should you want to resume the puzzle at a later time, you can save your game, turn off the Game Boy, and when you come back, you can continue where you left off, and really you pretty much have to, if you go this route. Mario's Picross has 3 options on the main menu: a tutorial showing you how to play the game, Easy Picross, a collection of 64 puzzles of various sizes ranging from 5x5, 10x10 to the full-sized 15x15 puzzles. Finally, there's, well, Picross, which has 2 more sets of 64 puzzles, though you can't pick the star one until you clear the mushroom one. Clearing all these modes will unlock the time trial mode, where you can solve puzzles at your leisure without fear of time limits, penalties, or anything of the sort. All in all, Mario's Picross gives you 256 puzzles to solve, assuming you want to go that far. Mario's Picross is what I would consider something that's ahead of its time. Released in 1995 on the Game Boy, which had a number of puzzle games that were more accessible and possibly more fun than a series of logic problems, which is what this was, I could sort of understand why people wouldn't have gravitated towards this at the time. Younger me probably saw this thing and had no clue what any of this was meaning. What are these numbers and things of that nature. Nowadays, especially after having played the Super Famicom version off the Switch Online service, we did a video on that last year, and the English instructions certainly helped with this version. But Mario's Picross is a puzzler of a different ilk, and when you take the time to learn how it works, how you're supposed to approach it, it's actually not that bad of a game. With puzzle sets of varying difficulty providing a fair bit of challenge as well as lots of content with its 256 puzzle output, Mario's Picross I feel is a fine game indeed. It just needed a suitable format to be played on, whether it be on a DS or a mobile device, or something with a mouse peripheral that you could use for more precise chiseling and stuff. As it is on the Game Boy, controls are very basic. D-pad moves your cursor, B button marks your squares for preservation, and A button chisels away some squares. It's fairly simple to pick up and grasp, they're entirely functional. Presentation's fairly basic with Mario's Picross, but does the job in giving you all the necessary information in a fairly orderly fashion. Unveiling your picture doesn't provide visual enhancements, it's just a small image with a quick descriptor. Not much to say about the game's visual presentation, it's basic, it's functional, it's perfectly fine. Super Game Boy compatibility gives you multiple borders, even if they're just the same Game Boy screen. And here's the thing, if you press start on the title screen while holding anything on the Game Boy, D-pad, B button, A button, whatever, you can pick the color of Game Boy to serve as the border. So if you were to hold up on the D-pad and you press start, you could shift to a black Game Boy, or whatever the case may be. Other than that, you got a couple more colorful intermission screens, and that's about it as far as SGB compatibility is concerned. Sound-wise, it's a thing that exists. The game offers a selection of tunes you can pick from in the options, but they're all just background wallpaper music that is just there to fill a void. Sound effects are also just there, nothing special. Overall, Mario's Picross is, well, it's logic puzzle gaming at its best in Game Boy form, though probably not the best in terms of a portable experience, considering you could find some version of Picross or whatever it's called on mobile devices or the DS, or not to mention Picross as a whole is something of an acquired taste and not everyone's going to dig it. But I enjoyed it for what it was once I knew how it worked, and that's probably the big thing. If you're willing to spend some time with it and figure out how it works and how it plays and what you're supposed to do, you might have a good time with Mario's Picross. Otherwise, There's plenty of good puzzle games you could go for on the Game Boy instead if this doesn't suit your fancy.